let's go check out the Psalms. You know the Psalms, these lovely, it's just poetry filled with God's love and desire for humankind, and a wonderful passage such as this. Chapter 137, we'll start with verse 7. Remember, O Lord, the children of Edom in the day of Jerusalem, who said, raise it, even to the foundation thereof. Verse 8, O daughter of Babylon, who art to be destroyed, happy shall be he that rewardeth thee as thou hast served us. If you aren't following, that's some passive aggressiveness there. Happy shall be he that taketh and dasheth thy little ones against the stones. This verse having been used historically to justify hatred and violence toward people who don't believe, as God in the Bible was commanding to believe, because not everyone believed in the Bible. They had their own gods and they had their own beliefs, and then this wonderful book comes along and commands people in multiple occasions, not just here, to be very violent and destructive and to harm each other and to kill and to commit genocide. But this Bible wouldn't condemn people who are doing things in the privacy of their own home.
Okay, he's moving to another topic now. So, this is really great, because what's going on here is you got to understand that the children of Israel have been taken into captivity in Babylon. All these horrible things that are mentioned there are things that had happened to them. Those are things that had happened to them when they were taken into captivity. And so now they've been taken by these people. They've gone 600 miles, I think it is, away from their home. And now they're being told, sing a song for us, right? You children of Israel, you from Zion, you're supposed to be the musical people, right? You're the people. David was your king. You're those people. So sing for us one of these beautiful songs so that we can hear this incredible music. And these people don't feel like singing. But in the midst of that, they decide to turn it around. Now, there's a couple of things I want you to understand about this. First of all, this is not prescriptive. This is not saying that what's being mentioned here in this passage is what people are supposed to do, i.e., you're supposed to dash children's heads against the stones. What it's giving you is a song that the children of Israel sang under those circumstances, right? Where they were broken. This is the wonderful thing about the Psalms. It's not always, I don't know what kind of church he went to where he got this impression that all the Psalms are all happy, happy, joy, joy all the time. That is not at all what it is. The great thing about Psalms, the realistic thing, is that you actually do get real human heart and soul in the midst of struggle, in the midst of difficulty. You get something real and gritty that people today who are going through suffering can latch onto and say, yeah, I feel that way. I get that. I understand that. So let's go ahead, and here's what I'm going to do. I'm actually going to play for you. This is my pastor at the church that I go to in Evansville, Indiana. And I don't think this is squared up with the page exactly right, but that's okay. And he's gonna talk a little bit about this passage, and then I'm going to play one of our campus pastors. This will just take a few seconds, so just hold with me. Don't go anywhere. But here's my pastor, Brett Nicholson, at One Life Church in Evansville, Indiana. Here's him talking about this.
It was the setting, rather, was about the Hebrew people had been attacked by the Babylonians. They arguably many of them had watched their city burn, their homes burn. Some of them watched their infant children be murdered right in front of their eyes, and then they were carried off 600 miles to another country, and they lived dominated by another culture and other people, essentially enslaved. And the people that were in charge, the Babylonians, would say to them, and they talk about this in the song, they would say to them, sing one of the songs. We've heard your songs were really, really good. Sing one of the songs of Zion. Sing one of those psalms that we've heard so much about. And they talk about in the psalm how it was so difficult to sing. But here's the beauty of that. And what he pointed out was they used the psalm to talk about the fact that it was hard to sing the psalm. And what we've said over and over and over again, and by review, and I keep saying this because I am absolutely convinced the Psalms teach us that if you really want to have a meaningful, deep, rich worship experience and life experience with God, if you want to walk with Him in a way that's going to be, it's really connecting, you have to learn to start where you are, and your worship becomes a turning toward God from any place. That's how the Hebrews dealt with this tragedy that none of us have ever experienced anything like that.
All right, so there he's setting it up, and here's one of our campus pastors Matt Breivogel, I think is his name, and here's him giving a little more.
And a couple things, like the critics of the Bible and people who are real skeptical about Christianity, I've heard them take this psalm and use it to kind of bash God. Like, why would that be in there? Why would he let that be said? Is that what he wants people to do, to bash children against the rocks? Like, and what they do is they'll take that last verse and just critique that in a really big way and apply that to the whole Bible.
Right.
And you can't do that because first and foremost, this is a psalm. This is poetry. You can't really take it as literally as you do other things like God giving the laws or these narratives that happened in history with all these historical details. This is imagery and feeling and poetry, and it can be beautiful. So it's that. And secondly, this is a real person writing in real time under real circumstances. So yeah, that's what you're getting. You're getting their gut, honest truth. And there's a lot to learn from that as well.
Okay, so there you get it. Actually, I want to play here and see if he gives this quote.
And here's a quote from Charlespurgeon.
Yeah.
He's a famous preacher from the 1800s in England. He said this about that. He said, "Let those who find fault with it, who have never seen their temple burned, their city ruined, their wives ravished, their children slain, they may not perhaps be quite so velvet-mouthed if they had suffered after this fashion." And he kind of gets it. He's like, do you realize what these people have been through? And so what we're going to do is we're going to reread verse 1 here, and that just sets us up.
Okay, so I'm actually going to put the link to both of these messages, and I really think you should check them out. And if you're a skeptic out there who says, man, I would actually like to listen to some good preaching, I recommend my pastor to you. There's a lot of good preachers out there, but our church, we dice it up. It's not always the same preacher, but it's usually Brett Nicholson, and he actually includes a lot of apologetic material, and he understands that there are skeptics and atheists who are listening to him, and I think it'd be powerful to you. So I'm going to put those links in the description. I want you to check those out. But the idea is here, you have these people who've been taken into captivity. Now this is, imagine this, put yourself there, and they're now sitting here being told to sing one of these songs of Zion. They don't feel like singing. So like Brett said, they put that in the song. But then they basically are singing, and if these people didn't know the language, the Hebrew, right? Then the Hebrews are sitting here, these Israelites are sitting here singing through. This is what we want Yahweh to do to you. This is what you're going to be destroyed in this way. And they're sitting there kind of bobbing their heads. Yeah, I mean, this is a good song, right? This is pretty good. I gotta put this on my iPhone or something, right? Put it in my iTunes account, right? But they don't realize perhaps what's being said right there in front of them. So the thing about this is there are a lot of people that think if something is in the Bible at all, then it means this is what God wants. What you got to understand is there's all kinds of stuff in the Bible. There's narrative in the Bible. It's just telling you what happened. There's Psalms that's expressing to you what's on someone's heart. And what's powerful about this is, a passage like this, is that people can relate, people who are in the midst of struggles. And this is a human thing. God understands this. And so this is why exegesis and proper context is important, because otherwise you are going to come away with just what I think the kind of understanding that Mr. Atheist has come away with here, which is understandable. I mean, I get it, but understand, we have the words of Satan in the Bible. So not everything that's in the Bible is something that you're supposed to do or something that you're supposed to revere. Sometimes the Bible is just telling you what happened, or it's expressing real struggles that are going on. People get mad at God in the Bible. This is a real book. This is what I want atheists to understand, is there is a realistic aspect to this. And like he said, he was never told this. He said growing up, he was just told that the Psalms was just all love and joy and all that kind of thing. Listen, man, if you haven't read it, read through this stuff and tell me it does not mirror your experience in life from the perspective of someone who might believe in God. You would see how you would feel these things. All of the criticisms, or at least many of the criticisms that atheists and skeptics bring against the faith, Christians already thought of it. Or God's people in the Old Testament already thought of it and expressed it and illustrated it, gave an impression of it. So I think that takes care of that. But remember, this is not prescriptive. What they're saying, they're feeling, doesn't mean this is what you should do or anything like that, right? And secondly, these are people who are in the midst of a very difficult situation expressing what's on their hearts.